Krista, message on the Amira to unmute herself.
My mom taught me to sell at a spaza shop. She ran a hair salon. I pretty much learned entrepreneurship from my moms.
Umtu ngumtu ngabantu. That on your own, you can't really do it. You need the support of those around you.
You will have a network of people, a network of communities, and a society that will make sure that you count.
Good evening and a very, very warm welcome to tonight's episode of Saita Straight Talk. Saita Straight Talk is powered by the South African Informal Traders Alliance, a movement that endeavors to unite the informal sector. And the informal sector composes of informal traders, small and micro businesses. And every Tuesday and every Thursday evening, we gather around and we talk about issues that are pertinent to the informal sector. And what we have found over our discussions is that it often lends itself, the topics that we talk about, lends itself to the broader community. It is October, and traditionally in October, we talk about breast cancer awareness. And this evening, we're going to focus on cancer, female cancers, but we're going to stop at particularly breast cancer and how this affects all of us in the informal sector. I have a wonderful panel of ladies joining me here this evening. I'm going to start off by greeting Fahmida. Fahmida, good evening and welcome to Saita Straight Talk.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. And I definitely am blessed to be here just to share my story and to kind of empower other women as well, and to actually have the whole awareness of breast cancer brought out to everybody, because each and every woman, whether you are a teenager, whether you are in midlife, in your age, or whether you later on in your age, we all should be aware of our breast and be taking care of ourselves in that way.
Thank you, Fahmida. Our second panelist is Olivia. Olivia, good evening and welcome to Saita Straight Talk.
Good evening, Louise, and all the rest of the panelists and the listeners. I'm Olivia Couleurs. I'm the service specialist at Cancer, the Cancer Association of South Africa. I'm a registered nurse by profession. I've been with cancer for 25 years. I am very passionate about this organization, and I personally have been touched by cancer because I lost my husband to cancer and my son was diagnosed with testicular cancer, but that ended with as a good news story because he is now a cancer survivor.
Wow, that's amazing. Then I'd also like to greet Kashifa Dolly. Kashifa, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Louise. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm Kashifa Dolly. I'm 43 years old. I was diagnosed with cancer in December. I had a double mastectomy done in March. I just finished my chemo last Monday, and the first week in November, I'll start radiation.
Thank you, Kashifa. Then I want to greet Oma. Good evening, Oma.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the invite. My name is Oma Mamatela. I'm from the Breast Health Foundation. We are based at Helen Joseph. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Oma Mamatela. I am a patient navigator at the Breast Health Foundation. We are based at Helen Joseph Hospital. I'm also a breast cancer survivor. And what we do actually, we support, we navigate and we educate all the patients.
Thank you, Oma. And then Our last but certainly not our least panelist this evening is Abida. Good evening, Abida.
Hi, good evening. I'm Abida Steenkamp. I am a breast cancer survivor. I'm also a registered social worker employed at the Cancer Association in Athlone, Cape Town. I run support groups for those women that are diagnosed with cancer, um, and especially with breast cancer as such. I'm very passionate about it. I find it extremely therapeutic. And the aim is to make women realize they don't have to walk this journey alone. There is support. And we at Cancer offer psychosocial support to families and patients. We also do telecounseling, and we actually go out and do home visits to the patients if necessary. Thank you.
Wow, I'm totally humbled and in awe with all of you and your stories. I'm going to start off with Olivia. Olivia, cancer. I know I've heard the acronym, and earlier this year I was face to face meeting the people from cancer because my brother was diagnosed on the 30th of June this year with cancer, and 9 days later he sadly passed away. And the support that we had received as a family from cancer has been absolutely amazing, and that was my first meetup with your organization. Who is cancer and what drives them, and how do you manage to be so generous in serving patients and their families?
Louise, thank you for that introduction. And yes, cancer, in a nutshell, let's say we fight cancer to save lives. And that is just in a very small nutshell that you can put it. But our main function is research. We fund research. There's ongoing research that is funded by cancer, and that that we get in at a tertiary level, at different levels that we do the research. The vaccine that was used for that was manufactured for cervical cancer. That was also partially funded by cancer, so we had a big part in that. And then we educate. Education is so important, to go out, teach women how to take responsibility for their bodies, how to know when something is wrong. That only you, when you know your body. So if you educated, and I'm not today we're talking about women, but overall men also get breast cancer. So everybody needs to know their body. They need to know what the signs and symptoms are, something that's troubling them, and that we start right from grassroots level by doing little puppet shows and that type of thing in creches and nursery schools, and then going on to the schools. COVID, as you had a huge impact on us because of lockdown and not being able to go into these things. We haven't been able to get the message out except on a social platform like this, which is wonderful that we now get the opportunity to do this. But hopefully we will return to a new normal, and we will again be able to really have that impact of education. And then care and support. If you've been diagnosed with cancer, we're there to walk the road with you. We're there to, from the time that you're diagnosed, you can phone and say, and we will meet you at your point of need. Your point of need is just information. You need information. What is radiation? What is chemotherapy? What is going to happen to me? What are the side effects? Because often you leave the doctor's room completely stunned. When you hear those words, you have cancer, it's like, you just go blank. And some of you, as bad as as cancer survivors, you can bear testimony to that because you've been down that road. And that's where cancer can come in, and we meet you at your point of need. So if it's just information, we'll give you the information. If you need education on your diet, on, pain control, and if it gets to the stage where you need assistance at home, we have got medical equipment that we hire out. We can go out and visit the families. We can do assessments, educate the family. We cannot give a 24-hour care. We just don't have enough staff to do that, but we can educate the families on how to care for their loved ones at home so that they're in a safe, loving environment. And as Abida said, there's telecounseling. We have, the psychosocial support. That's so important. And this is a free service that's given in 7 languages. It's absolutely amazing. By trained counselors, you phone, make an appointment, you phone our toll-free number, you make an appointment. The telecounseling counselor will phone you back at a time that's convenient to you and discuss exactly if it's a family that needs to be involved or just the patient themselves. So it's a very, very special service. And then even video, with COVID, we've had to learn a lot of new technology. And
Absolutely.
patients with stoma, that often now, as a nurse, we would go out and assist them with their stoma or help them. Stoma is that bag you get when you have colon or colorectal cancer, and that bag you've got to wear, or bladder cancer. And often patients are not taught before they leave the hospital of how to care for their stoma or how to change the bag or that thing. So this is where we can do a video call. We do WhatsApp calling. We've learned to be so clever with technology now and take the patient step for step that. So that in a nutshell is what cancer is there for. We're there to walk the road from diagnosis to getting better or to whatever phase you're going to reach. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. That's just amazing for setting the platform. Now I want to talk to Oma. Oma, you are a breast cancer survivor, and your work now is to support, and you work a lot with women in the informal trading sector. Share some of your experiences with us, because it's so important that our the health of our bodies runs parallel to the health of our businesses, isn't it? So share some of your insights, please.
In the where we are at the moment, you find that a woman get diagnosed normally on Thursdays. That's the day that a lot of women get diagnosed with breast cancer, and I sit down with them and tell them that, look, you are gonna be fine. And she will be crying and thinking, what are my kids gonna eat, because I might die, and we dare to say, you are gonna make it. And when they start revealing what they do in life, when they start telling you that I stay on the street from 5 a.m. in the morning until 6, that's when I can go home, and I will be basking in the sun the whole day. Sometimes I forget me in the process. Eating, I eat what I can grab at the moment, and which is not healthy for us. And we find women now get to go to do chemotherapy. And I remember this other lady, Busi, who I thought would join us today. She said she would stay on the street and sleep because she was tired with chemo, but had to be there. She had to be present at that moment. So it's really a sad story, and unfortunately, there is nothing we can do to help, but just to give support. It's really sad. And some of the women, you find that they are dealing with side effects of chemo at that moment, and they can't go out to work, and their household are dependent on that salary. So on what they're selling at that moment, it's really sad when they tell you their story. Sometimes you find that they lack transport money to go for treatment. It's really sad. And when you get there at Charlotte Maxeke, some of them, they just have that transport money and they can't have anything to drink, have anything to eat at that moment, because that day when they do treatment, it's considered as their off day, of which they can't afford to take. So that's really sad.
Kashifa, you came onto the show and I saw that there was no hair on your head. And you've just shared with us in your introduction that you had a double mastectomy earlier this year. Take us through your journey.
My journey started, I was in the shower in late November, and I just felt something strange. And I came out and I said to my husband, something is not feeling right by my breast. And this was the left breast at the time. And luckily the Monday, that happened the Sunday, and the Monday I had a gynae appointment. And I went to the gynaes and I explained to them what is happening. And she made an immediate appointment for me at Proteska Breast Clinic. So I went to the breast clinic and they checked it. And then the doctor told me, we need to do a biopsy, and we did it. And within that week, I got a call, you need to come and see us. And I knew something was wrong. So in December, when I went to the oncologist, they told me that I have breast cancer. And they advised me to do a double mastectomy. They put me on tamoxifen in December until March, just before my operation took place. So they did the op for me in March, and then I was fine. I was just, there was no pain and all that, which I was very thankful for. And thank God every day for waking up. So that happened in March, where they did the double mastectomy, and then I had to go on chemo. And that's the reason for me having no hair, no eyelashes, no eyebrows. I lost a lot of weight. Chemo was fine. The first four was the AC, they call it the AC chemo. I was nauseous, no appetite to eat and stuff. And then the fourth chemo that I was on, I had to do another four, which was the paclitaxel. I had severe leg pains, like, but not in your muscle, it was in your bone, where I couldn't walk properly for 4 days. Which was very bad for me, because it was very painful. I couldn't sleep or anything like that. As I said, I started radiation in the first week of November, and that will be 25 sessions, Monday to Friday, every day for 5 weeks.
Sure. Thank you, Kashifa. Ahmida, you are also a cancer survivor, and you're an informal trader yourself. And
Yes,
I'm
that's
listening to
right.
Kashifa. I'm listening to Kashifa now, and I'm just putting myself in the shoes of somebody who runs their own business that needs to
Yeah.
go for such a severe operation, and now go the radiation 5 days a week for so long. How? I mean, your journey is probably very different to Kashifa's. But take us through your journey and tell me, how did you keep your business afloat?
I've always been very on my birthday, I had this little thing that I used to do. Go for my gynae appointment, which was in the month of, which is in September, and then of course in October, which would be breast awareness month, and that was when I used to make an appointment to have my breast checkup with my GP normally done. And she didn't find basically any issues, anything like that. And then this particular day, I just decided in breast October, in breast awareness month, that you know what, I'm actually going for free mammo, and maybe I should just give it a try. And I went, and lo and behold, what do they call that? The radiologist that does it. I think it's the radiologist. Yeah. And he was taking his time, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, something must be terribly wrong, because I mean, like, why would you be taking this long? And I was told, Mrs. Daniels, you'll have to basically go and have it a biopsy done, because we found something that is a bit abnormal. And at the time, I didn't actually even think of my business as such yet, as of yet. I was basically just, trying to get to the bottom of what the findings of their concern for obviously doing a biopsy at Grooteskier. I've then attended Grooteskier clinic, and they did, I think, for 3 months biopsies. And when I tell you I've done quite a bit of biopsies, ask Auntie Abra, it was like she was no, I don't know. No, Auntie Abra doesn't know about that as of yet, that time yet. But yeah, it was quite invasive, because going through a biopsy, many women cringe at it, because they just kind of like feel, just doing a biopsy alone is so scary. And then of course hearing, waiting, sitting, waiting. I was the last to leave in hospital that day. I was told please not to leave, and I, at the time, phoned my husband. I said to him, "Why would they be asking me to stay until the last? You know, I'm here alone in hospital." Um, and then they said to me, "Mrs. Daniels, unfortunately, you tested positive for cancer, but we cannot tell you which cancer it definitely is." And then, of course, I had to go up for follow ups. And because of that, every time I'd go for my follow ups, and they would say to me they need to do another biopsy and another biopsy and another biopsy. And it was like finding a needle in a haystack, basically. Eventually, they did a lumpectomy, which they took about a quarter of the breast off. And with that, the diagnosis came back as after 3 months after I've done my mammogram in October, Breast Awareness Month, January, on the 19th of January, I remember clearly. I was told that I have inductal carcinoma, invasive cancer, and that meant that it was basically in my milk ducts. And when they speak to you, it's almost as if you hear, but you also don't understand what they're telling you. So you basically just like try to absorb as much as you can, but at the end of the day, it's as if um you're trying to absorb, you're trying to understand, you're trying to put yourself in a situation, but at that time it's like this can't be happening to me.
Yeah.
And
Sorry to interrupt you, Fahmida. Tell me, in what is your business? What is your business that you run?
okay, so I'm self-employed as a hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist for more than 30 years. I started at a very young age, and I work alone. I basically uh, help my daughter in a way where she also is in the trade, but she's basically studying at the moment. So she can
Okay.
also kind of sort of fall back onto something.
Yeah.
And I find that working for myself during the time of having been diagnosed and going through the whole process of chemotherapy, radiation, COVID, um, I mean, plus having COVID on top of it, and then of course COVID, and of course having to have a double mastectomy, which in my field of work was a bit more difficult than
Mm.
everybody else's that sits behind a desk and like just picks up a pen, or just sits in front of their little computer and types all day. So for me it was very challenging in that way, because obviously the physio part was going to be more intense than normal. It would have taken obviously a lot longer to heal. And in fact, in my business right now, I just about started about almost a month and a half ago, getting back into the swing of things. And
So did you in this time, did you have your daughter as backup, or did you have to close shop for the time?
No, in fact, because of COVID, my kids decided, because of me being on treatment, that they were going to do online schooling. So my daughter was in Matric, and she herself has also been down this road. That's why I say when I started, initially when you asked me to introduce myself, and I started with young and middle age, and of course, in the older group, we should take care of ourselves. She was
Yeah.
also down this road of having to go for 2 biopsies, and she's had 2 lumps removed from her breast as well. And she was only 16 at the time.
Wow.
So having to go through me being diagnosed and having to see the challenges that it incurs with your treatment, I think it was a very difficult thing for her to go through because, you know, it's your mom. Do I also have to go through this? All of
Yeah.
that. And then, of course, no, she did not. To answer your question, she did not um, uh, carry on my business. I had to close my business for 2 years, basically. And that obviously meant that, look, no income, you know, you gotta basically look after yourself in a way where you like, you just gotta let be and you just gotta have that faith. And, you know,
Yes.
you also have to realize that what is important. Is it
Yeah.
important for my business to run at this moment in time? Is it important for me to heal? You know, and I think my family was very supportive. My husband, especially my husband, my kids as well, they were at home with me. And I think COVID happened, and it was for me like a blessing in disguise, basically, because had it not been for them being around me,
Yeah.
it would have been a lot different.
Yeah.
I also realized a lot of people are not blessed in that way, like I should, like
Yes,
Omar could.
Fahmida, yes, I actually wanted to just interject there and say to you, I
Yeah,
mean, you are, despite your treatment, you were still in a very, very fortunate position that
yeah,
you had a huge support network. So
mm,
now we want to go to Abida. Abida, you are a group facilitator, and I'm sure that you have come across women that aren't as fortunate as Fahmida with regards to that kind of support, who actually then have to fight the battle alone. It could be a single mom, it could be somebody that has no family to support. I don't know where you are now, Abida, but I'm sure you can hear me. Are you in a
Yes,
position to
I can.
answer? Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yes, there are many women out there that does not have such a good support system as Kashifa and Fahmida. And this is why the support group is there, to make them realize that there are other women out there that's also walking that journey, and they are there to support each other. And besides meeting once a month, as a member, they also have the opportunity, if they are unable to come to the support group, they belong to a WhatsApp support group. And then cancer also offers an amazing support group with the Net Care and Cancer Group of Hospitals, where we have this amazing relationship with the Net Care Oncology Sisters and all their staff on board. And that support group meets once per month via Zoom, and all you have to do is register on QuickNet. It's free of charge, and various topics are discussed, and it's open to anyone. And people find this very helpful, knowing that cancer offers support at all times, be it via the support group chat, be it via the support group meeting. Obviously, if it had not been for COVID, we would have actually met at the hospitals in the oncology department once per month.
Yeah. Thank you, Abida. Olivia, just I sit here now and I'm listening to the ladies of the informal sector, and the one thing that after Abida has spoken now, it's clear that both our public health system as well as our private healthcare system seems to be offering a huge amount of support. I mean, also in conjunction with an organization such as Cancer, that is an NPO, if I'm right.
Yes.
But how do I look after myself? Obviously, we all talk about early detection and all of that, but a healthy lifestyle surely plays a huge role. Talk to us about the little things that we can do and the little signs that we can look out for.
Yes, thank you, Louise. Before I go on to that, I just want to say, when we look at our healthcare system, it also has a lot of challenges. And during COVID, I mean, we really, really, and especially when we were at the height of the waves, a lot of cancer patients really couldn't get to their treatment. And when Charlotte McClurky burnt down, I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of patients couldn't get their treatment. They couldn't get their pain medication. And cancer played a huge role in doing advocacy, liaising with the MEC, trying to get them into Steve Biko or into Barra or something like that, so that they didn't default on their treatment. So we also have a very, very important watchdog role and advocacy role at cancer to ensure that patients get the correct treatment. And so we hope that post-COVID, our health system will not be as stretched as what it is. It has been through the last the last almost 2 years that we're going into now. But how do I look after myself? It's all about a healthy lifestyle. We've got to, and it's not the big things. It's not signing up to a big gym membership and that which we can't afford, or, really eating the foods that you can only get at health shops or anything. It's very much the basics. It's looking at number one, tobacco and alcohol are the two biggest carcinogenic agents that we have. That must be, people must be educated. Don't smoke. We always used to say, yes, you could have one glass of wine or this or that, but it also has been classified as a carcinogen one. So alcohol and tobacco is a big taboo. Then we look at the sun, and we've got beautiful sunlight in South Africa, but the thing is just that it is deadly, and people that don't protect themselves, don't wear sunscreen, don't go out in the midday sun, and especially if we look at people that are maybe hawkers next to the road and not sitting under, umbrellas or something like that, and sitting in that direct sunlight. Yes, pale skins are more, can I say, you burn more easily because you got less melanin in your skin. But it doesn't matter what color skin you have, you are still at risk of getting skin cancer. And melanoma is our really aggressive skin cancer that we get. And then, looking at our diet, breast cancer, one of the high risks of breast cancer is being overweight. And therefore, looking at our diet, looking at what we're taking in, are we eating empty calories? Are we eating a lot of sugars, a lot of carbs, a lot of, things that really don't feed the body? And we always look at the 5-a-day concept. And the 5-a-day concept is 5 fruit and veg. And people always say, when I say this, they say, oh, but vegetables and fruit are so expensive. If you take it kilo for kilo, meat or fish against vegetables, vegetables are much cheaper than our meat and fish, and you can get a lot of protein out of vegetables, and rather use a cheaper protein, like a soy or something like that, to supplement your vegetables. So looking at really eating healthy and cut out those over refined foods and the cookies and the biscuits and those yellow cheese curls, and everything is just full of colorants and all that type of thing. So it's all about, looking to see that we eat healthy and making healthy choices, drinking enough water to stay hydrated. And then, staying, and then knowing your family history, because remember, a lot of breast cancers have a genetic link. So if you come out of a high risk family, you have to go for your checkups, because that is hereditary. So any hormone related cancer, which is your ovarian, your breast, your uterine cancers, your testicular cancer, your prostate cancer, those are all it's got a hereditary factor in it. So therefore you fall into that high risk, and therefore you need to make sure that you get checked out. Know your body. And when there is something that's not right, have it checked out. Don't be like an ostrich that you put your head in the sand. I just want to give one small story. When I only had boys, and when my youngest son was born, he was born with undescended testes. And we all know that's when the baby is born, but the testicles are still sort of in the groin. They don't come down into the little sac.
Yeah.
And testicular cancer is a young man's disease. And the only risk that they found that children born with undescended testes are at the higher risk of getting testicular cancer. And testicular cancer is a young man's disease. So you only get it between the ages of 15 and 35. Now, my youngest son was born with undescended testes, but I didn't want to single him out. So I always used to speak to both of my boys. And being a nurse, we call a spade a spade. We don't sugarcoat anything, So I always just say, guys, have you checked your ghoulies? And they used to say to me, Mom, you're so gross. You're so gross. And then I said, no. And you know that 5 days before my son's 30th birthday, he felt something was not right in his testicle. And if I hadn't had that check your ghoulies, he told me afterwards, Mom, if you hadn't laid that seed, I would not have gone to the doctor. So he went to the doctor and he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He had his one testicle removed. He had his chemotherapy, and now it's 10 years later. And I mean, he got married after that. Could never have children. Went for in vitro, a lot of fertility drugs and all this and that and the next thing. And eventually, in lockdown last year, they decided, you know what? It's not meant to be. We're not going to have a baby. And lo and behold, in lockdown, his wife fell pregnant. So the baby was born on the 28th of May this year, and that was just, a good story that came out of that. But it was all about planting that seed, telling young girls how to examine their breasts, how to look when they've suddenly got a what do you call it, a mole, a mussy, or something like that suddenly changes color or something like that. They find a lump in the breast. 9 out of 10 lumps are not cancerous, but we don't know if that one lump is cancer. So therefore, know your body. Don't ignore things. Lead a healthy lifestyle. Exercise, so important. As I said, you don't have to go and get a gym contract. Walking and swimming are the best, but walking is the best exercise that you can do. And, it's walking around your house, up and down your stairs, if you've got stairs, or just in and out. In lockdown, I'm a runner. I learned how to use my house as my running pad. And I used to run 5 kilos in my house. And I don't live in a big house. So a boer maak 'n plan.
Really. Oma, I want to ask you, because where you work, you are in the face of the informal traders all the time, and that was definitely something that Olivia said now about skin cancer was definitely something that I've been thinking about a lot, because a lot of markets and street traders don't have a gazebo or a wide brimmed hat or anything. And how do you help and encourage those traders and their families to take better care of those little silly things?
Yeah. Like Olivia said, drink plenty of water and take a walk. From my personal experience, because I'm also on tamoxifen, the side effects can be horrible on your body. So I have also learned to walk. It's around the block, just be consistent here and there, and they have water. This has really helped in terms of my side effects. Now, when it comes to saying to this, I mean, these women are brave women who wake up every morning and just go sit there in the sun, and they have nothing else that is giving them hope that it could be better if it's under the shade. They just there. So what we normally will do, we would invite them some of the days just to pamper them, or organize some makeup. You'd be amazed what lipstick does to them. The smell that they will have. So we do that for them. Unfortunately, it's where they are. They are there in the sun. They are there in winter. They are there in the rain. There isn't much we can do, but just that one day when they feel special, I think it lasts them for a very long time, because they will come back to you and say, I still use my eyeshadow, and that gives us a smile that at least we have done something to their lives that's got a meaning.
Yeah. I'm wanting to ask Kashifa now, as soon as she's up, because I want to talk about what I picked up with Olivia and with you now, Oma, is how important it is to keep a smile going, even through the education, even through the pain, even through the diagnosis. I'm going to refer back to my brother now, and how he walked into hospital. Fine, he was just not feeling well.
Yeah.
But when he got the diagnosis, his world collapsed, and he walked out there a few hours later a very
Mm,
ill man who couldn't even walk. So,
the
so,
mind.
so, Oma, do
Definitely.
you want to talk about how do I keep my spirits up? And Oma, once you're done, I'm going to ask each one of you, what have you done to just keep your spirits up?
Look, when you're sitting there on the couch and you're being told you have breast cancer, you literally become numb. It's like the world has just shut down on you. Okay? I cried and then I had to dust myself because I realized that's the journey that I had to take. And looking at my family's faces that says we're here to support you. I think more than anything, it's the support that you receive, that makes you want to wake up and just be strong. Even though sometimes you know that this is the toughest day, you are under chemo, your body just don't want to do anything. You just want to wake up and give that smile. So it's important for the people who are surrounding you so that they can also be strong. Because if you start being sick, the people that are gets more affected, it's your family, you know and at the same time you are in pain, they also become in pain, and you find that after some time the patient is okay. Now the family is starting to suffer because of the stress that they endured during your treatment. So you go to I always say to my patients, find your happy place. What is
Mm.
that happy place that you know that it gives you that smile that nobody else can take it away from you? Find that happy place and stay there for as long as you can.
Ah, that's wonderful advice. Fahmida, your advice quickly.
Yeah, when I was diagnosed, it was something also, to be honest with you, it didn't actually even sink in until now.
Mm,
And going through the motion of chemotherapy, everything, radiation, and the treatments. I mean, you know what? I was sitting next to a woman one day, and she was in the chemo room at Grooteskier, and she said to me she must still go back to work. And I asked her, "What kind of work do you do?" And she says to me, "I'm a sweeper at one of the malls." And I'm like, "And you going back to work?" And she says, "What do you do when you're the only breadwinner?" And then for me, it was like, I know I'm going to have a tough journey, but there are others that I have it even the journey is even more tough than yours. I know that I'm going to have a very, very strong support system with my family. And so all I looked to me, it was just a matter of looking left and right and seeing all the other women that never had that what I had as support. And for me, that was a main factor. And like Oma
Wow.
said, that um, you kind of have to be strong in a way to keep your family strong. And so to keep your family strong, you have to be strong, and you have to be the brave one putting on that, even though you feel sometimes like this can't be, you're having an off day. I used to sometimes come home and I used to just like scream into a pillow, get it out, and then on goes my day.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kashifa, and you, what kept you going? What keeps that lovely smile on your face?
My family, to tell you the honest truth. I have amazing support group. My husband, he's my caregiver at the moment. He was retrenched, and I think that was a blessing because then I was diagnosed, so he could look after me. We'll be married 19 years tomorrow.
Wow,
Yay.
It's
Oh,
congratulations.
amazing.
Wow.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And my kids, my family. I lost my mom 3 years back with pancreas cancer. She was 59 years old, and when I heard that I have what I have, and I thought the same was going to happen to me, and then Auntie Abida came along, and she was amazing, and she stepped up, and she was just there for me, and she's always there for me, which I'm very grateful for, and I'm very blessed to have her as my family, because she is part of my family now. But all I can say is, like Famida say, you think you're going through a tough time. These people in those chemo rooms that you sit with, and they tell their stories, and then you think, but then you're not sick. Then you look at these people and their stories, and then there's people that don't even have anybody to support them or to look after. But I just, like I said, my family is amazing, and thank you everybody for just being there and bringing this awareness over to other people. Thank you.
Auntie Abida, you walked the journey, and yet you find that deep inside of you, you still find enough to care for other people and to give them hope. How do you do that?
And the energy.
You
She's full of
you need
life.
to unmute. You need to unmute, Auntie Abida.
This
Oh,
woman's full of
I
life.
think first and foremost, my faith in the Creator. When I got the news, when I got home, I just went outside. I cried and I asked, my Creator to embrace me with His warmth. And after having spoken to my family, I actually went to all my neighbors and I said, I've just been diagnosed. I don't want you to come and sweep my house or cook for me, but I want you to keep me in your prayers at all times. And my husband used to laugh and used to say, you know so many people. Where do all these people come from? And I said, no, I actually don't know all of them, but God sent them to me because they are needed at this time to walk the journey with me. So yes, I'm very grateful that cancer has actually extended my family. My family has grown with cancer. So thank you.
Thank you, Abida. Olivia, last words from you.
I just think it was such a privilege to be here this evening and to listen to everybody's wonderful stories. I know, Louisa, this afternoon I sounded like, oh my goodness, another thing tonight. I needed to go for a run because I had such a bad day. So I needed, but then I thought, now I'm going to miss my run. But I'm so pleased I missed my run. So it's been such a privilege to be here. And my stress release is running and gardening. Those are the two things. Gardening is new life. You see beautiful things growing out of a garden, and running with the wind in your hair and just losing everything out of your mind and clearing your mind. You are able to renew yourself, to be able to walk that journey, and to have wonderful people like Omar at the Breast Health. We work very closely with Omar and Louise Turner and all of them at the Breast Health Foundation. They're really wonderful navigators, and it's all about taking hands, taking partnerships, not duplicating. People, there's too much work to be done. Let's just take hands and strengthen each other and walk this journey with these patients, because that's what they need. And thank you for allowing me to be here. It's been such a privilege.
Thank you, ladies. Wonderful set of panelists yet again. My absolute privilege to be hosting all of you on such an important topic. Saita does represent the voice of the informal sector. And we'd also like to hear from you, because if you're an informal trader, join our organization, take hands with us, because when it gets to a point where you need assistance, you can call on us and we can help you into the right direction and make contact with the necessary support groups. The membership number is on the screen as I'm speaking. You can also leave your details in the comments if you want us to contact you later on. But again, a spectacular Saita Straight Talk discussion. Thank you so much for joining us. Do remember, follow Saita Media Facebook group. Share this video with people that you know is going to benefit from it. We are on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Till next time, from me, Louise, and our beautiful panelists, good evening and salute to all the strong women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.